Hello and welcome. I forgot to unmute myself. Ooh, bad. All that I've mentioned is that what I've done Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, I intend to try to follow in upcoming weeks. Well, that's why, because that was at 3 instead of 2. And just maintain that as a sort of schedule going forwards, and then I was about to start talking about what I'm going to try to talk about today, which, as the title says, I plan to try and talk about another book series that I read in, like, when I was a kid. Which was the Septimus Heap series, which is, like, the first book is magic with like a YK at the end instead of IC. And, like, it's very much a series written for kids, even more so than Ranger's Apprentice, because I mean it's simpler, and it doesn't even attempt to have like real, like, there's no mention of people being used as slaves or drugged. So it's going to be a significant deal less difficult. It can be a lot simpler for a kid to understand. There actually might be implications of drugging from like witches and stuff, with like witches manipulating people and all that, which is not a unique thing. It's like just that's sort of what some brand of witches are labeled as doing. But anyway, it's more, I can say, child friendly, maybe is the choice of word. Yeah, why not? But that to me makes it a little bit more difficult to reread, because it's a little simpler, so it's not as interesting to reread. Okay, I can't remember how to dodge space. Okay. But when I'll begin, oh shoot, I hate when they turn like a sudden 1/8 of a turn so that the aiming suddenly adjusts a great deal. I'm gonna die against this basic boss, but it is what it is. And yeah, so what I'm gonna try to start is I'm gonna try to begin to talk about the premise, the story that's told. I'm gonna die, I'm so bad. I'm incredibly bad at this game. I'm gonna die, yep. Too aggressive. Let's just play it safe and not go for, like, don't use actual guns for that first fight. But anyway, so the Septimus Heap series, a key facet of the series is magic, and because magic is important, there's another bonus element of, like, magic's important, and it is also, like, magic is very magical in the same way, like, moons influence magic and whatnot. Like, it's established from the beginning, pretty much, that the 7th son of the 7th son is special. They're exceedingly good at magic for magic reasons. And so, from the start of the story, the 7th son of the 7th son is sort of introduced as having been kidnapped, sort of. Like, it was either kidnapped or I think it was stolen at birth, though it's the specifics about that are revealed in more detail later in the story, but I mean, it becomes pretty obvious. Even on my first read through, I had a good idea of who a character was, like a male character who is the right age to be the son in question is introduced fairly early, and it's like, oh, he's gonna be Septimus Heap. And like that's sort of the base setup of the seventh son of the seventh son has great magic. It's not, the seventh son in question is not thoroughly known about at this state, but that is an important part because I can't remember how early it is established, but like what the overarching villain, I think, of this series, like Dom Daniel, I don't know. Actually, no, that I just remember that gets pretty dark with like he, in one of the later books, he does some pretty dark stuff with reconstituting himself from his bones and stuff, which is kind of gross, but I will try to focus. The first book focuses on how the Heap family, who are the main families, like it's the main family, and like Septimus Heap is the seventh son of the Heap family, who's like patriarch, or who's the head of the family, is a seventh son himself. But I'm actually going to have this open so I can look at it, because it's been a very long time since I've read them, and the order is not the clearest. The first book is called Magic. Oh, the Septimus Heap books are like, it's a series of, I think, I'd say children's novels written, oh, it looks like the first one's written in like 2006, and it's a story about, well, the first book doesn't get too much in detail, but like a main character is introduced within the first book, and they're like well, not really like they're not they're special because they're the seventh son of the seventh son, and it's all like in-world magic, but it's mostly, the stories are, it's just like the adventures of a kid in this world who is the like exceptionally good at magic. It's never really well, like, because it's a kid's book, they don't really go into detail of why the seventh son of the seventh son is good at magic. It's just coincidence makes it so that they are good at magic, but it's mostly just a story of how they, like, of what happens in their life once they are eventually found, because being good at magic, they then become the apprentice of the head wizard, and they also have, what, an adopted sibling who is the princess of the country, but the princess is an important person because the queen has been assassinated, and this causes a bunch of like troubles that they have to deal with, and it's mostly, there is sustained plot. Yeah, like I was looking at the Wikipedia article because I don't remember the order of the books, but apparently there was plans to do one, but it just kind of fell through. Like, the specifics don't seem very clear, but like, oh, I can roll over these guys. But yeah, I'm just reading here. Film adaptation, they bought rights to the first film. It was announced in 2007, but nothing really happened after more than 8 years. So yeah, apparently in like 2016 they got the rights to the movie back from Warner Brothers, but there's no movie that's probably ever gonna happen, considering how it's not a new series. and it has a great deal of, like, it's, I knew people who had read it when I was a kid, but not, only one other person I knew had ever read it. So unlike Harry Potter, for example, is less, it's not I've never heard anyone ever talk about it, so, yeah, like, it definitely has, like, in the same way, like, Harry Potter type stories, it definitely has potential as a, it definitely could have potential as a story, because it's not, like, because it's sort of, it has enough sort of fun elements to make it interesting, I think, where, like, for a movie aiming at kids, like the first Harry Potters were, yeah, oh, I'm just bad at this game. But yeah, I think, yeah, the main character's name, when they eventually reveal, like, once it's revealed, like, the main character is named Septimus Heap, so it's named after them, but it's like, it all stems from, like, Seven, and then the last name of his family. It's like, but yeah, oh, I missed time that. Oh, that wasn't paying attention there. Well, no, I think his, I'm bad at this game. His name, I think, is just Septimus Heap, though. He's introduced, well, it's a spoiler, but he's introduced as, like, he's introduced as basically a number, because it's explicit, like, the people who took over the castle after an event in the past, sort of, oh, that was just bad, instituted, basically, like, forced child indoctrination. Yeah, I think the character is, yes, it is just his name is Septimus Heap. Sure. So here's the, I assumed I didn't have the money. Oh yeah, it's cheaper than I thought. I need to remember controls because I'm not accustomed to having multiple items. Next item is left shift. That's a right click. And that's, yeah, the rat. I do not know the rat stuff. Yeah. Like, it's a... Oh yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good time. Guess need to get this to the right place there. Yeah. Yeah. It's, ooh, oh yeah, this guy got done in by his buddy. Yeah. Oh, okay, that wasn't expecting that. Okay. Oh yeah, those are the guys who killed when they come back. Should be easy enough. Okay, that's there. But yeah. I'll continue with, like, trying to summarize. Oh, this dude, I'm gonna die. I don't have a chance because I am bad at this game. And I'm cursed, so I get cursed enemies. That was a bad roll. I should have been hit there. Yeah. Oh, I got him. Good. But yes, if I try and go back to trying to summarize the story, is because just engage in excessive, you know, spice consumption. Which I guess I didn't know it when I was aware of this more tracking this game. I think it's definitely the case that is a very clear reference to Dune. Because, I mean, well, like, spice, but like the whole sort of addiction element of spice in this game being sort of the, what are they? I don't know what they're called, I can't remember. Navigators from the Dune universe, and them being physically shaped by their consumption of spice. Okay. Enjoy the bauble. What? Okay, I'm confused. Anyway. Yes, if I go back to trying to summarize the series, starting with Magic, which is the first book, is centered around, like, Septimus Heap, the main character, is not officially, like, in the story as Septimus Heap until basically the end, but he is, there's a character, well, no, there's one character who is introduced to Septimus Heap, but isn't. Like, he was lied to all his life because he was stolen at birth and then taken advantage of, which is actually pretty dark now that I think about it again. There's some pretty messed up stuff some of the characters do in this story. But yeah, like, the characters, so, oh, okay, that was not a good direction I was expecting that shot to fly at me from. But, first book is mostly an escape from the castle area because the family, the Heaps, are like, oh, I messed up. That was really bad. The family are harboring the princess, who is like the only, you know, rightful heir to the throne, and the people who took over after killing the queen want to kill her. So the first book, as I remember it, is centered around them fleeing. They eventually go to a swamp. I mean, they're fleeing in winter. There's a bunch of, just obviously, like, several points along the story where, oh, welcome back. Oh, what's that? Yeah, I was just trying to I don't have enough ammo. I was trying to summarize the books, but yeah, Magic, they're fleeing. A bunch of stuff obviously happens throughout the story, which the specifics are not especially memorable. Oh, okay, so that's that. But what I can remember is they flee, they get away. Along their path, a bunch of, like, colorful characters are met, with some being, you know, friendly, and others being, like, there's an assassin with a gun that has the letters that match the princess's initials. Oh, I was not paying enough attention. I forgot how that worked. I should have used that on my other gun. But an assassin has a gun with the initials on it for the princess, which is like basically, oh, this bullet will find them because it's sort of charmed in a way. which it is actually a fairly... It comes back again later in the story in sort of a kind of sad but clever way. Because it's initials, you don't actually know... I mean, multiple people have the same initials. And that comes into play later in the story, which is quite... I'm gonna grab it, I don't know if that's the wrong choice. I'm faster now. I didn't grab that, I should have. Yeah, it comes into play later, but they're hunted. By the end of the story, they manage to mostly escape, and they find a magical boat. And this magical boat is relevant plot-wise, but it's not... It's relevant long-term because the boat is sort of... Okay, I thought that was the calling for the stone gaze. Yeah, the magical boat is relevant long-term because it serves as a way to travel. But I can't focus because I'm not good enough at this game to actually speak while doing a boss fight. Okay. Okay, I actually wanted to reload this. This gun might be better. Don't know what that does. Transforms into a powerful weapon. Bullet sprite. Radiant energy weapon under certain circumstances. No bridge. I don't know what that does. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But yeah, that boss is interesting. Yeah. If I go... Okay. Oh, it's that guy that's head down protected. Oh, I killed my charmed enemy. Oh, bullet deflection. Not the worst in this game, but... Yeah. If I continue trying to summarize it to... Oh, I'm bad. As best I can remember... That's actually fun, but... Yeah, the first story sort of reveals who... Like, it mostly serves to set up some manner of stakes and to introduce Septimus Heap as a character. And I don't believe it ends with him... That was just bad. That was just very badly played. I'm on fire and she stopped off and roll. But mostly sets up the character. Yes, he does end the first book by becoming the apprentice to what is referred to in the story as the extraordinary wizard. Which, it fits the tone of the story because it's very, like, it's not a super complex story, so it fits that the best wizard is called the extraordinary wizard. And I think it's kind of cute in a way. Something dropped, I thought, but I guess I just misheard. Yeah. It ends with them being apprenticed and bad, and that was just bad by me. But yes, after becoming the apprentice, the extraordinary wizard, the second book focuses on like his beginning the apprenticeship and learning new magic, which magic in this story is sort of centered around charms, basically. Like, I think basically any spell use is limited by the charms that the magician has, with like some charms are expensive, rare, and otherwise difficult to obtain, and there are, I think, some that are unique in the world, basically within the modern world, because like magic has kind of decayed over time, which is a common concept. Like, the second book is called Flight, and a big driving point of the second book is the main character basically figuring out how to, well, I think they start by piecing together the charm for flight, because it's a valuable charm and it's non-existent if it's in two pieces. But it begins with that, and then figuring out how to use the charm properly, because it is difficult. I don't remember if it does a good job of sort of justifying what makes some magic difficult and other magic not difficult. Like, so it's hard to really, I don't know if it does a good job of justifying the difficulty, but that's, from what I remember, that's a big part of that story. Looking at the summary again, his older brother also does kidnap their adopted younger brother, and that, and the other things with this, the older brother, is a long-term plot point where his older, I can't remember if it's oldest or second oldest, because he has 6 brothers. One of his older brothers, oh, I'm going up to the right, basically feels like they have been cast aside because their youngest brother is special, better at magic in like every way, and like if he hadn't been around, he would have been the apprentice to the extraordinary wizard. But instead, because he showed up, he's now a nobody. Whereas the reality is he probably wouldn't have been anyway, but that's just a common concept. Okay, I want to get hit. I used to think, I thought this boss was a little more annoying than this. Actually, can't you get like cursed versions of bosses? And then you just kind of lose if you're not good at the game like me. Because I'm bad at the game, so I would lose if I got a cursed boss. I'm already gonna lose anyway, but... Oh, bad rolls. That was bad. Okay, got him. Yeah, Flight, it introduces the brother being a villain. They end up solving the issue, as happens. I think the brother is still on thin ice at best after this one, but I think he might also stay distant. They also apparently get a dragon, but I entirely forgot that the main character hatched dragon eggs somehow. Like that's, I would have thought that would have, oh, contact damage. Like I would have thought a character hatching a dragon would actually be memorable, but it surprisingly wasn't. What is this? Oh, it's just a random... Oh no, that's pointing out something. They're all mimics. I didn't expect it to be a 3-member. I didn't. Maybe it's always mimics in here. I assumed maybe it would be 1 mimic and the rest wouldn't be mimics. Oh shoot, I need to not leave the room because then the rat will steal my stuff. Plague pistol. Banana. I don't want to mess with that right now. More spice. You know, it's probably bad to keep taking spice, but it's funny. Isn't that like a synergy? Synergy with the big iron. Interesting. Oh, well, okay, no, even if they're friendly, they still do damage to me. Okay, I was not paying attention there. I'm gonna die. Can't remember the order. Oh no, this gun is definitely a reference to Borderlands as opposed to the opposite. So I'm pretty sure, because I think it's like the Defiler is the gun that is this, basically. Oh yeah, this guy, when he's channeling, and I died to that because I'm bad. When he's channeling, if you shoot him, he collects your bullets and then shoots them back. I forgot. That wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't good, but... Let's go back here. Yeah, second book establishes a bunch of stuff for the plot moving forwards. I think Physic is actually one of the more interesting books in the series because, like, I mean, the summary here does a great job of showing why it's interesting because it's the antagonist of the third book is the 500-year-old spirit of a previous queen, which it works pretty well in fiction because most of this story, most of the book takes, most of the important parts of the book take place in the past because, like, the main character is trying to figure out some specific charm, and as part of that, while he's learning, exploring, an alchemist from 500 years ago pulls him through like a magic mirror into the past, which then he gets forced to work with the alchemist to help him create the like potion of immortality, which he mostly does succeed in doing. But I think the time travel within the story is not perfect. Like, it's kind of, he goes to the past and changes what was formerly his present, though you can always justify that with it be him when he returns, he's in an alternate future as opposed to the same original future. But yeah, it's an interesting plot line because it is a time travel story on like a grander scale, though it doesn't handle it as consistently as many do. Like Harry Potter's time turner thing in the third book handles the time travel well by explicitly like requiring that they don't influence anything within the time change, and they're only affecting a couple hours in their past. It's not as likely to throw everything out of whack. Oh yeah. There's a whole save for later function. Yes, physics is fun. It introduces a new character because they make an elixir of immortality. The alchemist takes it, which then allows him to become a mainstay character throughout the rest of the series because he's alive. Despite the fact that in the original timeline he was an old man because his initial attempts at the elixir of immortality were flawed. So he lived forever, but he didn't have eternal youth. So he didn't need to breathe because he was so old, his metabolism had slowed to an extent that he didn't need to breathe for 20 minutes, which is wild, but it was fun to read. Yes, that's that volume. It's not, I think it's the most interesting part of the story because it introduces a new character, it has some time travel, which is always interesting, and it introduces alchemy to the mix instead of just magic, though the alchemy is mostly just used as, oh, he's studying alchemy instead of studying magic. That's all that I can remember it really being used for in the rest of the story. But that's basic. The next one was Quest. Now, Quest, Siren, Dark, and Fire, which are the last 4. I can't remember much from them at all. Quest, looking at the summary, yes, they travel to a house, a magical house, where all time meets to save his brother and his brother's girlfriend, and they were trapped there in the previous book. And so yes, the quest is just trying to travel all the way there. I think the most, reading a summary, what sticks with me the most from that story was the manner in which the house where all time meets was handled, where people can only leave if someone from the outside world opens the door for them to enter, because if all time is meeting there, they can't, if they open it from inside, it would just be a random time, whereas if someone from their time opens it, gets them to the door, they would be able to actually exit at a controlled point in time. Oh, I know this is bad. And by, it's a very it is actually well thought out as a mechanism for that type of time, questionable time scenarios that could never really occur. It handles it well by justifying it that way. And it also makes it, easily justifies why people get stuck. And there's a few moments within the story that are fun, one of the characters meets someone who would have been from their past, who got lost here, but then they're all trapped. Then the next one, called Siren, is continuing from where the previous book left off. They visit a mysterious island on which someone is possessed, and then they spend some time on the island doing stuff that I can't remember because it's not memorable. They then try their best to save the girl who is possessed by a spirit, and they more or less succeed. They get her back to the castle into a cryo sleep but magical type healing ward, so eventually they will get better and be freed from the possession. There's a few parts of this story that I can remember off the top of my head. I think this one has pirates that they have to deal with. Oh. Yeah, it has pirates. It has a spirit controlling the girl half the time, sort of like at night. She's possessed. Yes, siren, and then dark and fire. I cannot remember for the life of me because I definitely only read them once because I didn't reread them to catch up. So looking at it, dark has the castle is sealed, and then some. You know, I even trying to read the summary, I can't remember anything. Yeah. Okay, some people get possessed in the last book. I have to, the last couple books weren't memorable to me. I did read them a couple times. I read them all once, I think. I don't think I ever reread any of those later books. Shoot. Because I didn't need to reread them to get back up to date on what was going on. Whereas most of these books I read a couple times because they released every year or two at most. And so because there was a long time between them, I would reread the books that preceded them. But the last two, I think I might have just not read the last two until they were both out. Or they came out close enough together that I didn't forget between, because I didn't reread it. So I think I've only read those last 2 or 3 books once each. But yeah. That's all that I really have to say about those. They were fun to read as a kid. I probably will try to reread them someday. But for now I'm going to stop. That's where I'm going to stop for today and talking about that series. I'm going to focus on just playing this game for this one run, and after this run I'm going to be done for today. But yeah, progress. This game's, getting back in this game is difficult, because when I played it in the past, I was also watching like people play it at the same sort of time. Like I'd been watching people play it occasionally for like spread out over like a month. Like people would play it occasionally, I would watch it. So I had enough knowledge about the underlying story, sort of. I don't know what this does. I assume it's not controls, Ammonomicon. I assume it's basically more damage based on curses. Yes. That's fun. I do enjoy these like payday references, where items that you can only really get. Yes, curse is good. I have no idea what this gun. Oh, neat. That was cool. I should use this. Wait, why was that blue? Is that curse bullets making it blue? That was just a bad aim. Yeah. I used to actually have knowledge, relatively speaking, about sort of the secretive stuff in the game. I do still remember how to get to the gutter. Like, you spend 2 keys in that first floor's fireplace. You put out the fire, you enter it, you spend 2 keys, and you can go to the gutter. I think it's called the gutter. I don't actually 100% know the name of the area, but it is... There is some reason to go there. I can't remember what that reason is. It might be that it gives good loot, and so you can get stronger at the risk of you spend 2 keys, and keys are a fairly limited resource. Probably shouldn't mess with curse when I'm bad at the game. That was not the right one to fill. Oh no, that fills everything by half. There's actually no wrong gun to use that with. Yeah, that's definitely the curse bullet making it blue. Yeah, like when the rat-centered DLC or expansion released, I had knowledge about that because when it released, it was interesting to look at, but the game is now, at the time, I saw enough of that it was nothing new to see anything more. Hey, that's rude. Please be Junkin. Sweet. Junkin. Coolest minion character ever. And actually, like, strong. Like, I think if you get him to full upgrade, he's incredibly strong. Which also incentivizes breaking chests. Because you want to break chests to upgrade Junkin. Oh, my clicking isn't too loud. That was lucky not get hit. I shouldn't have reloaded. Okay, this gun is way better than any gun I had last run. Let's reload. Just murder the statue. Are these, like, homing shots? Oh no, it's an active. What does it do? Shoots it. Oh, it's a turret. Makes sense. I mean, I'm probably not gonna use it because I'm gonna forget to, but progress. Oh yes, this game actually has, like, you get health every floor pretty much. I think. Do you? Or no, is it the master bullets give you health? That doesn't seem right. Junkin, attack. Good job, Junkin. Yes. What I could talk about just while I'm here is, like, Trails from Zero and, like, that series. That's a fun... It's a really involved story. But I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'll talk a little. Like, I like how... I think just one positive about that story, about the story, is that there's no... Well, the bad guy... The people who are pretty bad are pretty obviously bad, but most groups within the story are at least, like, somewhat... Most groups that are not good are at least somewhat gray. Like, Ouroboros is probably bad, but there's a certain degree of not every member is an outright villain, and that's not a requirement to be part of them. Like, so it's not a 100% bad group. I think they're not good. They do a lot of bad stuff. But they at least have members who do good, which is much more interesting than if they were pure evil, and more interesting than if they were just misunderstood. Because some of their members are outright villains. They have nothing, like, they don't have any real redeeming traits. They're just self-centered and selfish. Like, I think in Trails the Third, the only one that has been introduced in the first few books that is outright evil gets killed. And, like, LeBlanc, the bee, the Phantom Thief, is not a good guy. He's stealing from people, but he is also not going out of his way to cause mass destruction. I'd rather have more of that. Like it makes for more interest when Ouroboros as a whole. Sure, let's just grab that and try it. When the like group as a whole is a deeper, like, well, the whole thing is that it's run by one specific, like, the goal of Ouroboros is one specific individual's goal. Everything they do is to achieve said goal, but no one knows what that goal is, or why each individual is part of the group. It's like, they have to respect, well, they respect the individual behind it all. They don't fully understand it, but because of sort of who they are, they work with it. And like, there are characters who are allies who are part of Ouroboros. Well, at least the one character who's an ally is part of Ouroboros. And like, it's fun. Well, actually, technically, two of the characters were at one point, two allies were at one point part of Ouroboros, which is, the fact that one of them quit kind of takes away from any sort of interest there, but okay, I still haven't explored the full, I haven't explored a ton of this floor. This run's not gonna go well. Oh, guess what? Active item. Ooh, it seems to apply the cursed bullets. That seems pretty good, the fact that it applies the, like, damage bonus from being cursed. But, yeah, that's a fun story. This is also pretty neat. I'm bad at this game. I need to find a better way to be less bad at this game. I'd rather upgrade Junkin. No! Why give me the mailbox gun? Like, it wouldn't give me the mailbox gun if I wanted the mailbox gun instead of the junk, but it would give me junk every other time. Give me the mailbox gun when I don't want junk. When I want junk, give me the junk. I think this is one of the mediocre guns from my memory and from the use case. This gun's not bad. Junkin, doing a great job there. Okay, that's done. I hope I can get to fully upgraded Junkin. That's like actually a fun. Oops, I should have gotten hit there. Fully upgraded through Junkin is pretty cool. I can't remember if he becomes like, oh, this is worth more than trying to get junk though. That's worth way more than trying to upgrade Junkin. I don't know if this gun's actually good, but the attempt was worth more than Junkin being upgraded. I mean, that doesn't feel very good, but maybe it is good. Oh yeah, it has a punch. Totally forgot about that. But I guess I'm back to, I guess I used laser rifle. I used it for 30 shots. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Junkin did his job. Okay, that's probably worth a key to get, hopefully, some junk. Come on, junk. No! It was probably not actually worth it, considering junk's not guaranteed. You can recycle guns at him? Nope, wrong button. No, okay, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to restart. Well, I'm stopping for today because I was gonna stop after that run, and starting a new run would take too long. Weird run. I'm sad I misclicked. I don't know how I did. Well, I know exactly how I did. I clicked twice instead of clicking out, but I'm done for today. It was interesting. I'll probably be back Monday talking about what I've been reading.